What do you do if you get everything you want? Now what? If I look at the influencer economy, what's being taught are how-to methods to get everything that you want. What does this look like? I'm going to go from 100 million to a billion. That's an Alex Hormozy. Or Tony Robbins, which is I'm going to be able to walk across coals, hot coals or fire or whatever he does at his events, and I'm going to feel great. And then I will be able to free myself from my mindset problems by working on my mindset and using all those pattern interrupts and all this stuff he teaches. Or Russell Brunson, where it's something like, I will be able to have a funnel, which is a business. So the funnel's the business. So if I just have a good funnel and I market hack and I do all my marketing stuff, funnel hack, funnel hack, funnel hack, I'm going to get everything that I want in life. And this is what the society believes. How do I know? Because everyone's giving them all this money. And I did too, because I believe too, because I live in this society. And what I hear is people saying, oh, the influencer economy. And middle school kids, I saw a poll somewhere and it's like 75% of middle school kids want to become influencers on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or somewhere. And the new currency of popularity in the world is social media mountain climbing success. How do they do it? Alex Hormozy hired a marketing agency and used social proof and authority principles and persuasion techniques through that marketing agency to get people to love him. In other words, follow him because he has the answers. Who else did that? Pretty much all of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them. Russell Brunson's at the core of this. He's at the center of a lot of this. If I look at where it comes from, I'm like, wow, that guy invented this integration of how to succeed, how-to steps, thinking based on copying. And when I went through his 30-day challenge back in 2020 in the summer, I never even heard of the guy. And I'm like, wow, look at this new world. It said, do what I say and you'll succeed like me. And when it didn't happen, and I'm 150 grand in the hole, after a couple of years of doing this, I finally wised up. And I thought, why am I climbing social media mountain? Why? And that's the motivation underneath. When I get what I want, money usually, it's usually money or wealth. That's the dream. If I just have enough money, then I can have freedom. Then I can move on to purpose, satisfaction, and happiness. And the thinking is simple. You can't eat philosophy is the thinking. So there's this setup of a lie. And the lie is I have to choose between my purpose and being myself in the world and financial success. Why is this so hard for people? Because it's all fear-based. What is marketing? What is it? It's a bunch of people who are afraid. Marketers are afraid. These people are afraid. They don't know it. What's at the core of fear? I don't have and I need to have. What do I need to have? Enough money and enough popularity and enough status in the society to know I'm okay, to know that I'm secure and safe and complete. In other words, an outer directed life. What are we doing in our society? We're teaching children how to have an outer directed life with our social media systems in this new, not new, it's old, influencer economy, right? Who's figured it out? Teenagers. I have a middle school. My daughter's in middle school, and I was looking at their slang. I was like, this is hilarious because they see through it. And the slang is like cringy, Oh, that's cringy. That's cringe. Well, it is. I look out and I see, Russell Brunson teaching Napoleon Hill, which is to me is like a sacred book. Bob Proctor walked around with it like a Bible for years. And he's teaching this wrong. He's teaching it of chasing wealth, manifesting a dollar bill or $1 million in your or whatever you want in your bank account by tricking your mind into putting it there. That's dumbass. And that is not what that book's really about. Not at all. He's confused. He doesn't understand it. But he's got the social proof and the authority credibility lab coat, which is taught by him. Create your attractive character. Well, what's an attractive character to a teenager? Their slang word is glazing. That's what he's teaching. What does glazing mean? It means sucking up to the teacher. What else does it mean to a teenager? What else does it mean to a teenager? It means trying to become popular. Trying to become popular. What is an influencer? It's someone who's figured out how to become popular by creating an attractive character and finding a way to persuade people to believe that they have an answer for them through marketing persuasion approaches. Where did this stuff come from? Late night television ads, all of it. If you look back, so much of this came from, well, it's an intersection of many themes. So the topic here today is beware of success. I think that's what I put. I'm going to pull up my LinkedIn because I can't remember now what I'm talking about specifically because people are like, well, you didn't talk about what you said you were going to talk about. So I want to make sure I do that. But the basic idea here of glazing is called marketing. Adults call it marketing. And because, you may get what you want and fail. Exactly. So I am talking about what I planned on talking about. So why is this happening? I don't know. We got all screwed up. Where did this come from? So Dan Kennedy figured out years ago that there was a lot of free media available, or cheap media on TV late night, because there's only 3 TV channels and then later cable. And he's like, okay, if I can get people to buy this crappy stuff that they don't need, I'm going to make a ton of money. And he figured it out. And Russell Brunson, from the time he was a kid, studied this stuff. The Charles Atlas, stuff from the magazines. I grew up with this stuff, so I know it. I never paid any attention to it because it never persuaded me of anything. But he figured out how to use it. And then Google shows up. And that's the big promise, the Google promise of you can make a fortune on Google because the consumer's intent is demonstrated in the search engine. I want this. I want that. The marketer can see that with analytics and data and market to one individual. So I remember the power of one. There was a company in Chicago in the 90s that had this annual report, and it said the power of one. And it was a marketing company, data marketing company. I looked at that and I thought, that's awesome. That's brilliant. Because then people get what they want from the marketer. That's not what was going on, though. That's what I thought. So Google comes out with the world's information available and everything to everybody. I remember going to meetings at Google, their local office in Chicago, because I was working in marketing technology and ad technology later. And it was cool. It was like, okay, we'll figure out all their data and we'll figure out what they want. They'll demonstrate their intent by their behavior patterns online, and we can pull this stuff together. Now back then it didn't always work, but they worked. But now it really works. They got good at it. And then Google brought in an adult to run the company because they needed to make the investors happy. So I call that stupid money. So that's the stock market is stupid money. So the stock market doesn't care about making the world a better place and bringing information to people. What they care about is how much money can we get out of this company. And so they turned it into an ad network, and they got in bed with the big advertisers. And now we have a problem. So we have a problem. We have a massive ad network. So you have an industry sprouting up about how do we use that? So the search engine optimization industry is born. Now it's like, how do we game Google so we make more money for our for our advertisers. So all these marketing companies and niche companies and boutique, it's very complex. There's data companies, so much was going on. Ad networks integrating in with Google's ad network system, and then you got Facebook with their ad network, and it's just a massive ad network. Well, something else happened. Donald Trump and Paris Hilton, and lifestyles of the rich and famous. So that goes way back. And then Michael Jordan, the ultimate first influencer. And I remember being at Gatorade's National Sales Convention. The company I worked for put it together and did the Michael Jordan show on stage. Let's beam Michael in from outer space. And the crowd goes wild. Be like Mike. They're selling a lot of shoes. And what's cool is he had an accomplishment. Now, he had to do something to be, he didn't glaze the donut, okay? He didn't create an attractive character. He was an attractive character because he worked his ass off to become greatness. He had an accomplishment. If you remember the flu game, this guy took the team on his back. Plus, he subordinated his own desire to score a lot of points in Phil Jackson's triangle system. That was the system. It was like, we're flowing. This was so brilliant. We're flowing as a team. And Michael's like, yeah, let's win, because he wants to win. The team is going to win, not Michael. And the team was like, no. We just want to pass to Mike. And Phil's like, no. You play your roles. And they got Dennis Rodman in there, and they did it. They figured it out. And we're talking about the same thing here. We're talking about the same thing. There were no gurus and fans and followers. There was the team. Same thing today. So we've got this whole influencer economy now, and everybody's trying to climb social media mountain to get to the top of it. Well, the personality cult, becoming famous stuff without having an accomplishment, got kicked off, I think, by Paris Hilton. And now it's everywhere. Who's the queen? Kim Kardashian. Is there any accomplishment there beyond just having become famous and popular? I don't see one. What is this doing to our society? It's crushing us. As these trends intersected in the form of a Russell Brunson funnel and a Tony Robbins bring energy in the room so you feel better personality cult, and the influencer who's someone who's glazed their donut and created enough of an attractive character to become popular, this mainstreamed in the adult world. I'm talking about real adults who have maturity and are trying to figure out, how do I afford to live in this house? How do I afford to pay? I don't know what my healthcare bill is, but I'm paying like $2,000 a month. I work for myself. Who pays it? Me. There's never enough money. So the fear of not having enough money works on the marketer's behalf. This is the gold rush era stuff. Levi's sold a lot of gold mining pants at Sucker's Gulch. They were still advertising on the East Coast to get people out to California when the mine had gone dry. How they make money? Well, Carnegie made a lot of money with the railroads, and Rockefeller made a lot of money with oil, and Levi's made a lot of money selling gold mining pants. So who made the money? Was it the miners? So the entrepreneurs, coaches, and consultants climbing social media mountain, you're basically giving all your money away to a wealth extraction system of marketers and ad networks, technology companies. That's where all the money's going in the economy. Tony's got his own airplane. Give the money back, man. Or at least some of it, like Warren Buffett did, and Bill Gates. There's some really amazing billionaires in the world today. A guy like Jeff Hoffman or Ray Dalio running around trying to wake people up. Warren, Charlie Munger. Unfortunately, he died at 99. Didn't make it to 100, which is too bad. So there's people, and I saw some guys on Instagram, and I'm like, wow, you're awesome. This guy, Prince Stosh, who I know from a group I'm in, who's on Instagram talking about living in a castle in Italy. He is royalty. And his dad was a painter, Balthus. And he's a fascinating character. And he's got this massive Instagram following now because he's a fascinating character. And he should be able to monetize that through just sharing his experience. But there's no glaze on that donut. He's not glazing. No kid would look, the 13-year-olds know right away. So they'll see the Napoleon Hill bullshit that Russell's got out now, and they'd be like, oh, cringy. And then there's another concept called mid. Mid is a crappy product. A crappy product is ClickFunnels. A crappy product is Tony Robbins stuff. A crappy product is mid. Starbucks went mid. Why? Money. Why? Marketing. How do we get the most money out of the market? This is completely wrong because it's not necessary. So I'm not saying don't make money. Of course you're going to make money. How are you going to make money? Prosperity. It's totally different. So let's go back. Know the difference between desires and wants. You want success, money, happiness, freedom, and purpose. You want to be King Midas? Like Alex Hormozy reminds me of King Midas and Narcissus staring in his selfie phone with his shirt off. I mean, what the fuck, man? So what's going on there? What's going on there? It's using popularity to extract wealth when you don't want wealth, because wealth leads to becoming King Midas. These are Wizards of Oz behind the curtain. And there's a lot of emperors have no clothes going on, because I know in their mastermind, I've spent a lot of time with billionaires and millionaires and really successful people from the time I was a kid, not because my family had a big money, they didn't, but because I was in Alcoholics Anonymous and from 17 to 24, and it attracts a lot of, there was one guy he made $1 million a year trading stocks in the commodity market, or commodities, I think. I don't know what it was, but anyways. And, he's doing blow off, hookers and bars and dancing on tables, and he crashed and burned. And I'm looking at this guy. There was no attractive character there anymore. He was just telling the truth in a room with me, because we'd all screwed up our lives. That's what we had in common. So we're telling the truth. So I knew way back not to believe any of this fraudulent bullshit glazing behavior. That's what it is. It's bullshit. So the society's starting to wake up. And this takes the form of what's called trolling. So I looked at the Alex Hormozy stuff where he's confusing trolling with jealousy. So he thinks the people who are trolling him because they're jealous. And he's putting these quotes out that don't make any sense, which are just his opinions and projections onto people who are trolling him. They're not trolling him because some are trolling him because they're jealous and they're projecting. But a lot of people are trolling him out of frustration with him. And it's not him. He's a good guy, actually. I think he could be the next Charlie Munger. I think all of these people have tremendous potential that's being unused because they don't know what they're doing. So a guy like Tony Robbins has tremendous potential, but he's got to get rid of this vanity and arrogance and confusion in his mind. The mind's the problem. The mind's the problem. It is. The mind's in the way of success, real success. And the belief system of King Midas and hoarding wealth, why is that so powerful in this society? And I'm going to get into the difference between desire and wants, and this is why. So what's going on is wants come from the mind, desire comes from the self. Desire comes from the self. This is the confusion. This is what Napoleon Hill was teaching. What is your desire? Your desire is to unify the human experience with your inner gift that comes from inside, from your imagination. And this is very clear in all these books. The Go-Giver in Bob Burg's book is a very good book on this. And there's 5 principles. in that book of reciprocity giving. And the marketers confuse this with reciprocity manipulation. That's not what the book's about. This book's not about networking. It's acausal. It's basically you give to the system gives you back prosperity. Freedom is a feeling. Prosperity is a feeling inside. That's the desire. When you expand your inner desire, and I how do I know this? I did it. That's how I know. Spent my whole life chasing money and trying to get enough money in the bank so I could be free. That's a fool's errand. And it took me forever to realize it. It was the social media mountain climbing that led me to realize it, where I'm like, why isn't this working? I'm doing all these programs, how-to step programs. And then I realized I never succeeded. I've succeeded in my life. Um, I never succeeded doing someone else's how-to program because it doesn't work like that, because that's from need, not desire. The desire is deep inside you. It's your purpose. It unveils itself. You can't chase a purpose. It comes. You can go around the world like Odysseus did, or you can push boulders up the hill like Sisyphus, or you can seek the Holy Grail like Monty Python. That was the best movie because it's exactly what this is. It's chasing something and then stockpiling wealth in this case, or seeking answers. It's all the same stuff, really. It's something outside me will complete me. This is what all these people are teaching, and they're setting it up for their own advantage. They're not bad people at all. I'm not saying that. If you think that, you're projecting your feeling onto me of that. I'm not saying that at all. My desire is for the world to come together where everyone gets to be themselves and have prosperity. Where does the prosperity come from? Inside. Every single human being on this earth has prosperity inside and can unlock it. But you can't chase it. You can't chase the money or stockpile the wealth. That's a myth. So marketers are looking for pain. This is the problem. They're looking for the need, and they teach it. This is the amazing thing. And I'm doing it. So I'm reading Eugene Schwartz, Beyond Advertising. I'm reading Positioning by Trout and Rice, and I'm learning. I'm doing all these things. I'm doing them. And I believe it. And then all of a sudden, I realized it's all bullshit. All of it. It's a lie. Because it's not how it works. You can't fill up something inside with something outside. It's impossible. What's inside? Truth, desire. Whose? Yours. You want to bring that out. So I'm going to read my about section for this event. The desire may be deeper. On the surface, you may think, well, I want $100 million, or I want a $10 million company, or I want this kind of company, or I have this purpose. You want to go down that road because there's something there, but you want to expand the desire in the marketplace. And I call the system to do that, which is not my system. It's a principle-based system. I call it More Money Now, almost like a pun, because it's not chasing money, but it's about narrowing your intent. This is what Napoleon Hill was talking about around what am I going to give to the world that I want to give selfishly, because I'm a Mother Teresa now, not saying me specifically, but one is where I've identified the power of selfish giving. And what I get back is everything I want. My desire connects into the marketplace. That's what the Go-Giver is about, and many other things. I'm not making this up. So it's deeper, but you're the only one. The marketer, the Tony Robbins types, they can't tell you. This is the problem with them, and that's how you know when someone's bullshit, because they're telling you essentially, get from me and you will be complete. Follow me, you will be complete. Understand what I'm teaching and you will be complete. That's called a false prophet. The truth comes from, don't be like me. That's true. Don't be like me. Don't believe me. Trust yourself. Here's principles and approaches. That works. Now, it's hard to grasp, it's hidden from view, and you won't get to it using a whiteboard. Why? Because you can't get there with your mind. Your thinking this is why working on your mindset doesn't work. Your thinking process is the problem. The mind's the problem. The solution is the deeper self access and connection to desire, allowing that desire to expand into the world, The friction from the world is hard. So learning how to release the parking brake that blocks you from your desire realizing itself in the world is the work. You got to be out there doing things, but don't follow anybody's step method, 5-step method. I know it failed for me because I wasn't paying attention. I was too busy being productive. And this is another big Alex Hormozy thing. Just keep working, keep working, keep working. That's ridiculous. It's a misunderstanding of persistence. Persistence is persisting in expanding your desire inside you and persisting in the face of friction. This is what Steve Jobs teaches. This is what Walt Disney did, or Thomas Edison, or Oprah, or any of these people are talking about. This is what the poets are talking about, the writers, the musicians. This is Jack Kerouac, if you know who he is. You should know who he is. You should read On the Road if you haven't. Learn why modern people fail to succeed when they get what they want. It's the crisis that plagues our society, but you can escape from this confusion. This is my sentence to close, and then I'm going to spend a few more minutes after we're done, 10 more minutes. So learn why modern people fail to succeed unless they get when they get what they want. It's because it's not what you want. It's what you think you want, because you're motivated from fear and need and not having. And somebody shows up with their unique mechanism, the marketers call it, that will get it for you, and they will show you how to connect that with your pain. That's a problem. Now, if someone shows up and shares their experience of how to connect it with your desire on your terms, that's useful. So I think what's going to happen is some of these top marketers are good people. Like a guy like Todd Brown is a good guy, I can tell. And another guy is like Evan Carmichael, he's the one. Alex Hormozy's famous because of Evan Carmichael, I think, because he blew himself up on YouTube and Evan knew how to do it. I think these people are making the shift too, but they're not quite there yet because they're still mixing in all the persuasion bullshit, but they're getting there. And I'm excited to see it because I think it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Some of them are already there. There's a guy named Rory Vaden and his wife, I think, and they did the stuff for like Lewis Howes, who's a real deal, lifestyle entrepreneur stuff. That's real. There's no marketing glazing in there. This is through the pain of finding your own way. And I listen to their podcast sometimes, Marketing Masters, I think it's called, and I'm like, okay, you guys get it. You shouldn't call it marketing, though. Just call it experience sharing, because it's confusing to people. They can't often see the difference. I couldn't either. And then I finally got there. So this is the crisis that plagues our society. This idea, this belief that's not true, that if I can just get enough money, I'll have freedom from transitional pain and change. That is not possible. And it's getting worse. So it's almost impossible to have enough money today. And the more that happens, the more pain there is, and the more success the marketers are having. So a lot of gold mining pants are being sold. But you know what's interesting? Their enrollment is down. I'm noticing this. Like Grant Cardone, a perfect example of how not to do this is lowering his costs, I think. And they're marketing more. They're spending more on advertising because people are realizing it's bullshit and they're walking away from it. So what the marketer is going to do is market more. Or a guy like Russell Brunson's buying the rights to sacred texts like Think and Grow Rich. But he also bought all the stuff for Dan Kennedy, which is not sacred at all. You don't want to do any of that. However, the communications understanding and intelligence behind these things is profound. Russell Brunson is a profound guy. I learned so much from him. He's just confused. He's confused, but he's profound. There's a transition potential there. So as the society transitions into no longer believing it has to people have to get money to be successful, then everything changes overnight. So I call this the great opt-out. And this is my my hope, is that you'll opt out of all this bullshit and not be cringy, stop glazing your donut, and stop being mid, and just be yourself, get prosperity, embrace your desire, and realize your vision in the world. All right. I have to talk about my fear around doing this because I really had to work through this because I feel like I know that a lot of people are going to think I'm attacking these people and it makes me sound like an asshole. And or somebody who's an opportunist who's trying to figure out how to contrast myself with them so people will like me and I'll take off on social media. And it's true. I am. So there's a concept in positioning from Trout and Rice called being 7 Up against Coke and Pepsi. That's what I'm doing. So this is how 7 Up got big. So I want you to learn this so you can do it. So we do a lot of market authority planning work, and this is how you do it: is you get to something true. So let's take 7 Up as an example. In other words, okay, it's good for you or what? No, it isn't. But back then I think people thought it was because it wasn't caramelized. I don't know all the details, but Sprite, lemon lime soda, and I think they thought it was healthier. I don't know, but the point is that let's say what you have is good. It should be. It should come from your purpose. That's the first step in More Money Now. I call it product. Start with product, not how to succeed. What do I have that's valuable? Then look at your marketplace and figure out, don't use marketing. You don't need avatars. You don't need position. You don't need all that. You don't need persona work. You don't need to figure it out. You don't need to survey your market. None of that. What works is to say, who do I want to be with? Who am I here for? Who am I getting ready for? Who are my people? And that's part of product. And connect, stage 2 in More Money Now. So connect is about, who are my people? Who resonates with me? Not who will buy from me and how do I get them to buy? Fuck that stuff. Who resonates with me? And then ask them, do I resonate with you? And sometimes the answer is no. I got a lot of people, I do not resonate with them. They don't like me. They don't like what I'm saying because I'm attacking directly a belief system across the entire society. A lot of people don't like that because they're profiting from the belief system. And that was my dilemma: is how do I overcome my fear of doing this? And the way I overcame it was releasing myself from the fear and what I call putting down the parking brake. And there's a lot of ways to do that. And that is energetic work, not working on your mindset. That doesn't work to get here where I am, where you're just being yourself publicly and sharing your experience with your people. I'm sharing this for my people. Who are my people? People where this resonates. That's it. I'm not trying to get you to do anything, but what I'm doing is I'm positioning myself, not using marketing persuasion, but the concepts from Trout Rice positioning, which started I think the book was written in 1968. And then it really got big in the 70s, took over marketing, and from personality, product as personality marketing from like the Mad Men era, it became the norm because the market was so saturated. So I can't believe it's not butter. Oh, not butter. See, ladder in the mind now has butter in it. I'm getting butter, and somebody shows up and says, not butter. And I'm like, oh, not butter. I want butter. Oh, not butter. I should look at that. Same with 7 Up. Not cola, the uncola. Oh, not cola. They just did it with Beyond Burger. If they called it soybean vegetable patty, nobody would have bought it. We know that because they used to. Everyone still does. Nobody wants a soybean vegetable patty. It's not that they don't want it. It's they don't associate it with, I want to go get a burger. Now, I want to go get a burger is, oh, I'll have a Beyond Burger. That's better than a burger. I'm going to try it. What is it? I don't know what's in it. I think it's a soybean vegetable patty, plant-based food. It's the same thing I'm doing. So I'm saying, not bullshit marketers, not bullshit marketers. I'm not a bullshit marketer. I'm not a Tony Robbins kind of guy. I'm not a Russell Brunson. I'm not an Alex Hormozy. I'm not a Grant Cardone. So I'm setting up a contrast. You need to set up a contrast with the bullshit trend in your industry that is popular. And that's hard because their fans are going to hate your guts. But you got to stand in the fire of that. How do you do it? You got to have your people. I could not do this without my people around me, because I can talk behind closed doors about my fear about doing this. So I've held back a lot where I wanted to go all in. And somebody told me, they're like, George Carlin didn't make it until he went all in. And I'm starting to listen to George Carlin differently. And I was listening to one where he said, the American people are the stupidest people in the world. And he said this this was a long time ago. American patriotism and the feeling of American greatness is a deeply embedded belief in the United States. He goes up on stage and says, American people are the stupidest people in the world. He got away with it. What did he do next? He said, but not you, to the audience. And they're like, oh, good. He doesn't mean us. It's true, because he was looking for people where it resonated. But there were a lot of people in the audience that, from his definition, were stupid. And then he went on to say what stupid was. He said, we built a shopping mall across the entire country. And what we're doing is we're shopping and eating. He said, you got a whole population of people in one of the most pristine environments that's the deity or whatever. I don't know. He didn't believe in that stuff, but that we've been given as a population. He says, oh, actually, we stole it from the Indians, which, there's another thing you don't say on a stage in front of so he's like, but not you, you didn't steal anything. So he found a way to do it. And then he goes on and he's talking about how fat everybody is. Now, today you get canceled for saying that. But now, back then, he could do it. He could get away with it. And then he got big. Why did he get big? He told the truth from his perspective. In a society that believed things, that it was like it's shopping and eating crappy, poisonous food and buying shit you don't need. The funny thing about Dan Kennedy is one of the top marketers, is he says this. I've studied Dan Kennedy because I wanted to be like Dan Kennedy. I wanted his stuff to work for me, and it didn't. So I'm trying to do all this marketing stuff, feeling like cringy about it, and building these what I would call mid products. There's kind of shitty products like how-to coaching systems that some people bought and didn't get much out of it. And I had to give people money back. I'm still have people I want to give them their money back. When my business takes off, I'm going to do that. And I can't wait to give them their money back, because I had mid cringy products because I was glazing without even knowing it, my donut, trying to use Dan Kennedy's methods. The funny thing with Dan Kennedy is how smart this guy is. These people are all really great people and they're really smart. And that's what I want to say. I want to keep saying, I'm not attacking these people. What I'm talking about is an issue in the society that has serious social consequences. 75% of middle school kids want to be influencers for no accomplishment, without having any accomplishment. So in other words, be popular. Of course they do. They're in middle school, in high school. But my daughter's figured it out. She doesn't want to be popular. She wants to be happy. She's already figured it out. So it's kind of hilarious, but it's also a problem. Look what's going on in social media. It's a problem. We need to solve it. Who? You, me. You can't have them solve it. Was the government's going to solve this, or some magical, committee? No, opt out. We use it. I use it all the time to get relationships, and I bring them off social media because I'm not going to build my business on it. That's crazy. They can cancel you. So why would you build your business on an ad network owned by a technology corporation that can change the rules? So the bottom line here is know what success means for you, and it comes from inside. It comes from a desire, and the way into that desire is to get to know yourself, not figure out how to succeed by buying some bullshit course from some marketer. It's just not going to work.